1927, a World War veteran, former member of the faculties of Columbia University and Vassar College, sailed from New York to the island of Bermuda. After 4 years on this picturesque little island, he returned to New York with the manuscript of a novel that was destined to be the talk of the world. The title of this 4-year literary effort was Anthony Adverse, the name of its author, Hervey Allen. Almost overnight, Anthony Adverse became a sensational bestseller. Printed in many different languages and sold to the reading public of every continent, it was hailed as the literary masterpiece of the decade. Edition after edition was sold almost as fast as it reached the bookstores.
Anthony Adverse, please.
I'm sorry, I just saw the last copy.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I've heard so much about Anthony Adverse, I can hardly wait to read it.
It's selling so fast, it's difficult to keep it in stock. But I'm expecting another shipment tomorrow.
Save me a copy, would you please?
Yes, of course.
So fabulously rich in color, romance, spectacle, and adventure was Anthony Adverse that half a dozen motion picture companies started fast bidding for the screen rights, which finally went to Warner Brothers, producers of many of the screen's historic successes. As Sheridan Gibney, playwright, author, and scenario writer, begins the gigantic task of adapting Anthony Adverse to the screen, newspapers and magazines record the public's suggestions of the stars to interpret the 98 leading characters of the novel. Over 400 screen tests were made of practically every prominent star in Hollywood. From these screen tests were selected Frederick March to play the part of Anthony, Olivia de Havilland to play Angela, Donald Woods as Vincent Nolte, Anita Louise as Maria, Edmund Gwenn as John Bonifetter, Claude Rains as the ruthless Don Louis, Louis Hayward as Dennis Moore, Gail Sondergaard as Faith, Steffi Duna as Nolita, Akim Tamaroff as Carlos Sebo, Ralph Morgan as De Brule, and Henry O'Neill as Father Xavier. To house the gigantic sets in which more than 5,000 extras appear in massive spectacle, it was necessary to build new and bigger sound stages on the Warner lot. Before any of these sets were constructed, studio technicians built miniature models of them so that the director could plan the action.
This is a model of the convent where Anthony as a baby was abandoned by Don Louis.
And this is the courtyard of the Casa de Bonifetter where Anthony meets Angela for the first time.
And this is a model of the African trading post, where Anthony becomes involved with Nelita, the beautiful native girl.
From the ranks of Hollywood's greatest directors, Warner Brothers selected Mervyn LeRoy to bring Anthony Adverse to the screen. Here he is going over an important scene with several members of the cast. Mr. LeRoy has directed more than a score of filmdom's greatest successes, but his inspired direction of Anthony Adverse exceeds all of his accomplishments of the past.
Angela, you can't go. You mustn't go.
Anthony, I must.
No, you...
His name. His name.
Dennis!
A merchant's daughter. To soil the honor of my name. The world will never know. Do you hear me? Never.
They're after him to kill him.
No.
Tell me the truth.
I am telling you the truth.
You sent him away, that's what you did. You hated him for wanting me to leave Africa, and now you... Oh, you beast. You savage.
You're so wise and so clever. But I know something that would kill you.
Are you willing to give up your career and your name for a man who hasn't even a real name of his own?
Oh, Anthony, I love you.
And so, after 4 years consumed in its writing and 2 years of actual production, with a cast headed by 14 stars and 98 principal players, Anthony Adverse emerges as one of the truly great contributions to cinema history. The whole world is its stage. Breathless action in the Alps of Switzerland, intrigue in the courts of France, duels in old Italian taverns, adventure in the jungles of Africa, fiery courtships that sweep through 3 continents. The world awaits Anthony Adverse, the motion picture triumph of the generation.